Hello everyone, this video will cover modules 15 and 16, which are the final modules for the class. So it encompasses the final test as well as the final essay. And so I'm just going to quickly go over them. There's not a lot to these modules, but I just want to give you an overview of what I'm expecting. So Module 15 is, you can do these in any order. It kind of is up to you. It might take you longer to write the essay, so you may want to start on that first. But then again, it may take you, you may not like writing or taking tests, so that might be a better option to start with. So the test is just the second half of the semester. So at the midpoint, we took a test over the first 8 modules. Now we'll take a test over the next 8 modules, essentially, not quite 8. But the readings review will go over the chapters. These are the chapters that we have read since midpoint or that we have been exposed to, that you've been reviewing. And so be sure that you review those before you take the test. The test is a weird number of questions because for some reason the midterm exam got off by a few questions. I'm not really sure what happened, but so your points for the class were off by like 8 or something. So it was bothering me that we didn't have exactly 1,000 points. So I corrected it by adding some like 2 more questions to this particular exam. So the questions are going to be just like we've looked at before, true, false, multiple choice type of questions. They're pulling from those quizzes that you've taken all semester, and so you get to look at those questions again. Make sure that you do review before you take. There is a 60-minute time limit, so make sure that you are giving yourself a good review session before you start. If you have any issues with the test as you take it, make sure that, so if your internet cuts out or something, make sure that you email me. The online learning center cannot help you with that. I'm the one who has to go in and reset the test for you. So just keep that in mind. The next module is module 16, and that is where you will finish your last writing assignment. The last writing assignment is a card report. And so a card report is, if you remember back in like grade school, you had to do like book reviews or like book reports, and a lot of them were real simplistic, where you just identified author, title, and that kind of thing, and just the basic ideas from it. And so this is similar. Our textbook, I didn't have any really extra resources for you here because the textbook does a pretty good job of explaining exactly what you need and there's an example in there exactly what it looks like. And so essentially what you're going to be doing is you pick a story, preferably one that you haven't used for anything else this semester, just because I want to see what other things that you can do. Some of the stuff that we've worked on and later on in the semester might help. You can also do a story that's in there that we did not read for any particular assignment. There are plenty of stories in there that did not get assigned to you, so you're more than welcome to work with something new. If for some reason you can't find anything appealing to you and you want to use something outside of the textbook, you need my approval. I don't want you using a full-length novel. I want you using a short story. And so most short stories that are out there that would be approved to begin with are going to be in the textbook. So just going to keep that in mind. The only instance that it might be is if there's an author that we have in the book, but their particular story that you're interested in is not in the book or something like that. So just keep that in mind. So the assignment's pretty simple. You're basically going to answer the 13 questions here, and the example in the book has you doing it. It's supposed to be as if you were typing it on a card, hence the card report part. And basically it's title, author, information about the author, name of the characters, etc. And so it's short enough that it would fit like front and back on a note card. Obviously, I'm not going to have you write it out on a note card. Instead, I want you typing it in a Word document. Your finished card report needs to be exactly 1 page long. I don't want it to be shorter. I don't want it to be longer. And so in this case, the challenge really is in the wording. How can you word things with enough information without giving us too much information? Now, you don't need the header like you would normally put for an essay. So that helps you with spacing, and you don't have a title because you have author information, etc. at the beginning. But the rest of it needs to fit on that one sheet, double spaced, and typed in like MLA with the 1-inch margins. And so you can look at the example in the textbook. It shows you how specific the writing can be. And the only thing that isn't just kind of factual information from the story really is the number 13. And number 13 is asking you to evaluate the story as a whole and explain your opinion of it. And so that's where you get to put a little bit of your opinion. Everything else should be pretty obviously straight from the story. So, and writing things out in like complete sentences, but keeping it simple. So the author's name is blank, and he was alive from blank to blank. The main characters are, and then you list the main characters. So those would be, as simple as possible. And some, depending on the story you've chosen, some of the numbers here, you might have more or less to write about. So you might find that your story really only has one key symbol, or it may be that you have a lot of symbols and you have less of a description of, characters or something like that. So it really depends on the story that you've chosen. So the criteria down here at the bottom, just again, keep in mind 1 page. That's going to be probably the biggest challenge. And then of course, when you're done, make sure that you submit it. It is only 1 page, so make sure that you also proofread it before you submit it. That would be helpful. So that is the last essay. Like I said, you can do that. You can start working on that at any point, and then that test also is the two combined essentially create our final exam. The end of course survey is on here as well. Give me some feedback if you wouldn't mind, and then 5 points extra credit for completing it, and that'll be the end of the class then. So as usual, if you have any issues, make sure that you send me an email. Otherwise, I hope you are doing well, and good luck with the end of your semester.